Hey guys, Azeem and Kamil here from the Almost Grown Up podcast. Make sure to comment and subscribe and smash that like button. It helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Hope you enjoy.
Alright, amigo.
Got a nice little instrument this time.
Tres, dos, uno. Can you even hear that?
I didn't do it.
Oh.
It's you only need one impulse, like I said. So it'd be funny to I'll just do this.
It'd be funny if you both did that and then just no clap. You have to do it again.
Do we?
No, I thought we would have had to do it.
Oh, right. But I feel like we would have both noticed if there was no clap sound. Anyway, we are back with episode
18, baby.
Bam. So glad you did that because I always forget.
Yeah. Even though I reminded you just before we started.
Hi, I'm Zing.
And I'm your best friend.
Best friends. You always say that.
What are you meant to say?
I remember when we were recording one of the intros, and you're like, "If you want to hear just two best friends," and then we both burst out laughing. And you're like, "Best friend."
Yay!
So yeah, it's now 2021. I think I've mentioned.
I feel different.
It's so different.
Yeah.
I feel like we've left COVID behind.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone back to normal.
Yeah.
Nothing to be afraid of.
Apart from spiders. Well, for you, anyways.
I wouldn't say it's like a fear, unless it's like a huge one.
How big are we talking?
Like ones that can bite you, and it's like
Bruh, there was one just over here.
Yeah, but I
can't see it. It's like tiny.
It was like this big.
This motherfucker goes. No, what are you doing?
And then I killed it. I just like to make sound effects on it. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Although I did get sent a TikTok from Lily that said by killing them, you are essentially just making them stronger because they're only the strongest who know how to hide, survive.
Oh.
It's from this doctor. I think I'll try and give you the link so you can put the link in the description. Yeah, check it out. There's some interesting facts on there. Some that I didn't want to hear so much, but I now know.
It's that survival of the fittest, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still probably going to kill spiders. Sorry for any
murderer,
super
vegans.
Super
vegans, as opposed to like normal vegans. Like there's tiers.
Yeah, because like top tier is like the militant ones that are like really like unbearable.
Oh no, actually, I guess you can get that because you have those who just don't eat animal products. Then you have those who don't.
That is vegan though.
Yeah, no, but some still wear leather, or use products like body products. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then, like, I don't know, vegans out there. I mean, if we're chatting a load of shit, let us know.
But then there are like the bearable vegans who, I think the ones that I've met, they're the ones that they started doing like fluff hanging from my beard. I just took my sweatshirt off.
No, you good.
Which you might have seen in the intro to this video. Yeah. But the ones that you've just...
Is that a spider?
No. The ones who have started off as vegetarians and then it wasn't that big a jump to make, they're the ones that kind of understand a little bit more because they're like, yeah, it was easy for me because I went from, only vegetarian to cutting out a very small amount of things, but I understand for someone else who's come from like a meat eating background.
Yeah,
it's a bigger jump.
Eggs,
everything,
milk, like everything.
Yeah, and I think the hardest part is the social aspect, like going to a restaurant with your mates, because you have to either one find like a specialist place that has like a decent vegan menu, so you have some options.
Yeah.
Or you have to just go and make some food out the sides.
I feel like more and more restaurants now are.
Oh yeah, now they are. But
yeah. I mean, like 2-3 years ago, forget about it. Unless you're in California, but like now, I mean, it might be like city dependent, but in London, anyways, they're quite like everywhere.
Do you know what
I've been? Not that I eat out much,
I've
but
been out in fucking ages.
Yeah, but last time I went to Oaxaca, they've got tons of vegan and veggie stuff. I guess it's not the same amount of choice that you say would have if you're a meat eater or just veggie. But I guess it's a start,
But the vegans are like, just try like 2 days out of the week where you don't eat meat. And I'm like, I could get on board with that. People are also doing veganuary.
But that...
Or veganuary. I think it should be veganuary because it's not January, but you're also not a vegan.
But January. What? Yeah.
Hi, I'm
What's
Beach.
happening?
It's like, I think you should be a vegan. Like, I'm good, bro.
I'm alright. No, I'm fine. But like, so that's actually how we should eat. I think we talked about this ages ago.
What?
Where, like, it's not all about being all in on one diet. It's having all of them, but spreading them out through the week. So, you know, we shouldn't have 3 fucking meat meals a day. Like, I mean, you might fucking differ.
I do.
But it's like, that's not how,
Sorry.
biologically and sort of through history, like, that's not really how humans have ever been. You know? Like,
They ate what they could
essentially
find.
the Mediterranean diet is kind of quote unquote the best one. Obviously, like everyone's going to have their own opinion on that, but they've done tons of studies where, you know, you have like I think 1 or 2 fish meals a week, and then like 2 or 3 meat meals, and then the rest are like kind of veggie, and you just spread them out. So it's not just fucking like red meat all the time, and like that's gonna clog up your heart, you know.
So Lily also, before she was vegetarian, she only used to eat chicken.
Yeah.
And then she said, 'cause I feel like that's quite a common thing, right?
Yeah.
It's weird because I'd be like, if you eat meat, eat all of it. But
Yeah, but I can kind of see that.
I get it, because
transition.
I think a lot of people find red meat quite heavy and a bit like, oh,
And red meat is very much like it just looks like a slab of meat. Like it's kind of hard
which I
to.
fucking love.
It's kind of hard to disguise it. With chicken, you can kind of. It looks. It doesn't look like just a big old bit of meat.
Yeah,
like, yeah. Obviously,
because
if you
there
look
is
at a
that
chicken breast,
there
but
is
it's-
that disconnect between
It's white
what's
meat,
on
that's
the
why.
plate and what's like the animal running around, and the bigger that disconnect is, the easier it is for someone to eat it. So I do get it.
Yeah.
Because some people find it like they'll eat chicken nuggets, but they can't eat like chicken wings, like because the fact that it's on a bone, that freaks them out. And to be honest, I get the same thing. Like if I'm having some chicken wings, and for some like one reason or the other, one of the bones are broken, weirds me out. I can't eat it
Really?
because that to me makes it real that it was an animal. Do you know?
If the bones are broken.
Yeah, like, you know, if it's been like
Oh,
broken
I see.
somehow, and then you're eating it, and then you realise the bones of the wing or the leg or whatever you have in
Like
it.
it's damaged or fractured or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. I get that though.
Yeah, so like, you know, so I don't do it often, but like when we went to like KFC, for example, which is like, you know, the lowest of low quality chicken you could probably
yeah,
get.
even if it's
But-
chicken.
Yeah, just barely chicken. Just barely chicken. JBC
ABC.
coming soon. I don't think it's
Salmonella coming soon.
gonna sell very well. Yeah, like when those have been broken, I think like when we've been in your car, and like just you know, I'm like, whoa, like that chicken wing is not getting touched.
I'm not a big fan of chicken wings, but the ones that you know, like you have the big fuck off meaty chicken wings where they kind of you get the thin ones, and then you get the ones which
You
have
mean
like
the
the
double
kind of,
bone or the single bone?
hard to explain, but
Well, one has 2 bones.
you get the one that has like the kind of fatty bit on the end. It's like it kind of does that, and then it goes like kind of big, like round one side.
the single bone.
Probably, yeah. Okay, but anyways, I can't have that fatty, chewy bit. Like as soon as I get to that bit,
cartilage.
I'm like, get out of there. No thanks. Whereas some we've had where, yeah, the double bone ones, you just eat the whole thing because it's all meat. There's no.
That still has the
Yeah, but not as much. Nowhere near as much because there's like these fucking round, like chewy bits. And like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like imagine eating your own knee joint.
Yeah.
Maybe not your own. That's kind of weird, but
Someone else's. A chicken's.
poor chicken.
Grim. Oh, chicken. Yeah, we've done a 360 there.
Yeah,
180.
I'm going the same direction again. So can Azeem and Kamil figure out degrees of rotation? This podcast. So
No.
I had
Yeah.
I think it was the last podcast where we were talking about, or maybe just before we started recording. So I don't know whether the viewers know, but we were talking about investing in crypto.
Yeah.
All right. So I got sent this. It was actually a YouTube video which talks about a Reddit post. So a bit of a case of Chinese whispers here.
Uh-huh.
But I thought it was a very interesting dilemma. So this, I read this like 2-3 days ago. So it might be.
Do me a favour.
Slightly
Move that
embellished.
mic to your left. People can't see your face. Boom. That's better.
So there were these 2 twin brothers. Obviously there would be 2 because that's what twins are. I don't know if they're identical, but sort of that doesn't really matter in this story. They basically inherited $100,000 each, And one of them chose to invest it in silver. This is like a few years ago. The other one chose to, when I say a few years, I think like 2012, 2013. So back when Bitcoin was really, really small, or like first coming about.
Yeah.
I think it was like around $100 for one Bitcoin.
Jesus.
So one of them did Bitcoin, the other one did silver, and made some other stocks and shares investments. Now, they're both twins, right? So this Reddit post is from the guy who invested in silver. He, after I think 4 or 5 years, that 30k that he invested into silver came back as 26. So he made a 4k loss.
Damn.
The Bitcoin guy, he was a
Millionaire.
he's a millionaire. Yeah, I can't remember how many millions. I think it was like 9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah.
Now the Reddit.
But from 30 grand or from 100 grand?
From the 100 grand.
Oh, so he put 100k into Bitcoin, whereas the other one put 30k into silver.
I don't know if it was the full amount. I'm sure there must have been some other bits.
Okay,
but
so they didn't invest the same amount.
not the same proportion.
Okay, cool.
So the silver investing brother had 30k in silver, and then he was a bit vague about how much went into stocks and shares, which is sort of where this story breaks down a bit. But it was kind of like the evidence was corroborated by other Reddit users, so it checks out basically.
Okay.
So this brother's posting, and he's like, I can't go to like family events anymore. I just don't go anymore because I can't bear to hear that you should have done what your brother did, all this kind of stuff. And then
Shoulda, coulda, woulda though.
yeah. So this is the thing. So this other brother also, the Bitcoin guy, he gave him 1 Bitcoin at the end of it as well.
Right. Okay.
So now Lily was saying, why would you only give him 1 Bitcoin? And I'm thinking, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he didn't even have to give him that, because the bottom line is. So I think fundamentally what I was saying, I was playing devil's advocate, because obviously I'd want, like, let's say if it was me and my sisters, I'd want them to do well as well. And if I had that many millions, I'd be like, fucking have it, like, live comfortably. I don't know, like, have enough to never work again, and then from there do what you want.
Yeah.
Now all the other Reddit users were like, well, you're complaining about even having 100,000. That's more than other people can ever have. Because that was the initial inheritance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then from that point onwards, it's your decision to make with
it's
it
your
what you do.
decision. Yeah, it's your.
So Lenny was saying, well, why didn't you just give him more? Like, why give him 1 Bitcoin? I'm like, yeah, but he didn't even have to give him that. Like, he didn't owe him anything.
No.
If you boil it down to fundamentally what they've done is they've just made different decisions. And some other Reddit users were, but this is kind of the problem with going on Reddit for any sort of like advice like this, is that you'll get literally torn to shreds because other people are like, number one, you're ungrateful. Number two, like, you miss opportunities every fucking day. This is just a bit more in your face because it's someone that you're genetically identical to and financially now as well.
I think financially is always going to be the bigger blow.
I think, yeah. And then some other Reddit user went, just get your ass to the gym. Because he might be richer than you, but this is the only way you're going to make yourself feel better. You have a better ring. I was like, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't make up for the however many million, but...
Yeah, but to be fair, I'm pretty certain they're well off anyways. Like,
yeah, well, this is the other thing. So in this story, he said that his brother also has a job where he gets paid quite well.
This is the brother who...
The Bitcoin brother.
Oh, okay.
He gets paid quite well as it is.
Okay.
And then he's just kind of there or thereabouts. And I'm thinking, well, you're either there or thereabouts, but then you also got 100k invested. So that's more than anyone can say. You have enough to...
That's tons, yeah.
Yeah, like plus you still have 26k.
Yeah, but also, so has it ever been disclosed as to what the brother who invested in silver does for a living? Like, is he pretty well off? Oh, okay.
He didn't say, but he mentioned that he still has to worry about money. So
okay,
in this sort of moral debate, I guess I understand where my girlfriend was coming from in that you'd want to do well, but at the same time, that brother, by giving him that 1 Bitcoin after he'd made all his millions, has already helped the silver investing brother to break even. He's already made up for his losses by giving him that 1 Bitcoin. So he's basically gone back to square one and said, invest in Bitcoin. Do it now.
Could be.
Like, why are you...
Yeah.
He's literally given him everything he needs, and all this guy's doing is just getting down in the dumps. And I get it must be hard, especially when it's like, the person you'll be compared to all your life because he's your twin.
Yeah.
I get that's the hard part. But I just thought it was an interesting, like, moral dilemma of does that older brother, does the richer brother owe him anything? Because I get, like, everyone's relationship with their family is different, so I understand. But I think it's just an interesting story of decisions to be made. Because the way I contextualized it was, let's say, for example, the guy didn't invest in silver. He decided to spend it on strippers and cocaine, right? Because it's still a decision that he's made with his amount of money from the same starting point.
Yeah.
Then does a brother owe him anything?
No, so the thing is, like, you can look at it from a few different sort of viewpoints. One is, for me personally, if I was to sort of put myself in the shoes of the guy who invested in silver, it's like being given that, to me, feels like pity. It can come across that way. It's like, oh, here you go. It's like, well, I don't want that. like for me, I'll be like, well, that's your decision. You made that. And then also through that whole sort of period where, you know, this is obviously what, 2013 or whatever you said it was. This is fucking 7-8 years ago.
That was when they got their inheritance.
But they both invested at the same time, right?
This was around 2017, 18 now.
Sure.
Where this has all happened, and he's posted on Reddit.
But, so at the same time, you need to, like,
own your decision.
But you need to also always review your decision. So, like, say if you invest in something, you can't just be like, yeah, cool, you know, I'm gonna put that in there and forget about it. That is a good strategy, 100%. Like, to just kind of not touch it, not sell it, not do whatever. But at the same time, if something clearly isn't working, if you look at a company
and the 4 years to be like, maybe I should take it out.
Well, no, exactly. Like, if you see silver like really going down or just staying really flat, and then Bitcoin is doing this mad move, you kind of need to sort of like reanalyze and go, have I made the best decision? Should I maybe halve my position in silver and then maybe kind of try to equal that out in Bitcoin and see what happens, and then kind of play it safe that way? You know, because then you're just going on a hope and a prayer. I mean, obviously, investing is almost a little bit like that.
But it's an informed hope and a prayer. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, unless
you got to do your research. Like, obviously, if you invest in companies, you have something to go off of, because it's like, you know, their financial records, you know who the CEO is, you know what's kind of happening with the company, what their plans are. They have to like give you certain information every quarter and every year, and that's how obviously the company then funds itself as well through investments. But like with something like Bitcoin, obviously only now it's become more tangible in the sense that, like, institutions and like banks and
like accepting
big
payments,
companies, like the media have just gone, oh yeah, this is the thing now. They've just decided. Whereas obviously all these people who are kind of seen as being wackos and kooks going, why are you buying this?
I was a non-believer in the first time. I remember when I was at uni and my mate was like, this is the next big thing. And I was like, because he was like, he spends so much time on Reddit.
Yeah.
And smoke a fuck ton of weed.
Yeah.
So I was like, you do that.
It does have that kind of connotation.
Now I'm like, probably should listen to him.
Yeah, but it's all in hindsight though, isn't it? Like, that could have just as well gone, just as equally gone south as it is like now, where you know where it's sat. But it's like,
and this is the thing where people were trying to contextualize this guy's struggle to, I don't know, accept his own decisions and what's the outcomes of them. They were saying like, you miss opportunities every day of the week, every hour of the day.
Exactly.
So why is any different, you know? And I think since he's actually taken the post down, and when Lily told me that, I was like, it's quite sad that he's had to resort to going to Reddit, right? Because this is a man now was unable to talk to family members, unable to attend family events, probably can't talk to his girlfriend or wife or his other half, whoever it is, about it to help him find peace with his decision.
Yeah.
He's had to go to a bunch of strangers on the internet to now be like, how do I deal with this? Here's the situation.
Yeah. It also comes down, like, the parents and the family, they're also at blame, because like,
I don't think anyone's to blame.
No,
sorry,
not to blame, but if he feels uncomfortable going to social situations and stuff, like, obviously we don't know the full story. It's like, well, if you're always saying to him, oh, you should have done what your brother did, you're an idiot, or whatever, like, not saying that they have said this, but just kind of, that's the picture that I'm getting in my head. Like, they shouldn't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
true.
Also where the problem lies, because obviously now this dude's like insecure.
But then at the same time, maybe it's his insecurities that make him feel that way before even going there.
And we'll never know.
Yeah, so there's a lot of unknowns to this, but I think it's just an interesting moral indicator of someone, because I think me and Nelly were aligned on the fact that if it was us, we'd want our family members to do well, especially if you're living so comfortably. Like, because she made a good point in that. Well, when you have that many millions, it's only gonna there's only so much you can spend in your lifetime. And she said all that's going to happen is going to get passed down to his kids anyway, so it's going to stay within the family.
Yeah.
So you may as well spread it linearly rather than laterally rather than.
Yeah, totally. I think
so.
Also, what you're saying about that brother is like he was still having to worry about money. That's kind of where you then go, okay, I would never want someone in my family to struggle. But
then at the same time, I sort of understand by him giving that one Bitcoin. Yes, you can see it as pity, but equally you could be like, I'm giving you every sign you need. Look what I've done with this. Yeah. I'm giving you this to go back to where you started. Also, what they were quite unclear about in the post was where that 70k, how those stocks and shares investments, how they went.
Sure.
So
it may have not gone as well.
But then you'd think with his quote unquote pity story, he would have mentioned it if it was a big loss.
Sure.
Because that would help.
Yeah,
that would help his story.
Could have wanted to keep it separate though, but whatever.
Yeah.
But still, like say for instance, I always like to think, and I can only ever speak hypothetically because you don't know what's going to happen when you're in that sort of situation. Say if you win the lottery, right, for instance, right, or you just happen to just come across all this fucking money, right? I would think that I would spread that out amongst like my really close mates. Like you wouldn't go, I'm gonna do 10% like equally or whatever and give that out. No, you go, here's a really good amount. Boom, so like it's just like, okay, here's something to just kind of be like you can chill out for a bit. You don't have to worry about anything, or you can just splash it on a nice holiday or whatever. Like it's just
I'd like to give like a starting point, because the other thing is because the amount of people who are just unhappy after they win the lottery, because obviously money changes people and the way people view you. So
friendships change apparently too.
Yeah, 100%.
People just go, oh,
because obviously like why did he get more than me, or why did da.
Exactly.
So I always think if you give them like an equal starting point, because I'd like to think that your circle of friends, you can't just go from like being roughly the same to you being up here to then still being friends. It wouldn't work. You're going to have more different sort of people surround you at this stage up here.
Yeah.
In that sort of,
it depends, because like...
But they won't be real friends, because in the second you lose that money, they're
exactly,
gone.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense to bring your friends up from the ones you had to begin with. So I kind of get what you mean to give them a starting point.
But also having that, so suddenly having no money, or like a normal amount of money, to then suddenly having millions, I
think
don't
still
feel
have
like
the same mentality of
but I don't feel like that should change who you hang out with. I don't feel like your circle would then change because you suddenly go, oh, I can hang out with this person. It's not like you suddenly then meet celebrities. That's not how it works. No, like you just get to go to fancier places.
Yeah,
well, I would want to anyways. I'd still be banging out KFC blood.
The broken chicken wing. I know you don't have chicken wings.
Yeah.
I think you still would though, because even if it's just being present in those places, and eventually people talk to people.
I guess, but some rich people are fucking idiots, bro. Like they're just
some poor people are idiots though too.
Yeah, but I think it's just also just that mentality of like, when somebody has money and they're like very much well, look at me. That's like, okay, hang on, I don't want to hang out with somebody like that. Not to say that all rich people are like that. 100% no, because I have some really close mates who are in very fortunate positions and they've worked hard for it, and they're not like that at all. They're very much just like, we just chill, do whatever, like they're not like flashing their cash and stuff. But I just you get that connotation of like people who do have all this money, and I have met some of those friends who I just mentioned, their friends or like their kind of acquaintances, and I've gone, I don't want to associate myself in this group of people because it's just not it's not me. I don't feel comfortable.
But then at the same time, do you not think that if you spend long enough around those people, purely because of where you're going, because your friends who haven't had that, like let's just use the lottery as an example, right? Because that'll probably be the quickest time frame to make the biggest disparity.
Yeah.
So those friends that haven't won the lottery, they won't be able to follow you around at all the places you want to go and want to experience, because they can't afford it without you having to pay for them all the time. That'll create sort of invisible dependency.
Yeah.
So that'll put strain on that friendship. Yeah. Now, because they can't be there to give you that sort of grounding, to keep you, held down to, remember where you came from sort of thing, you will be around those circle of people, and that sort of, I suppose, not entitlement, but the sort of, we're meant to be here and we deserve nothing less sort of
Yeah.
mentality may start to creep its way into your firstly like your like vernacular, and then eventually the way you think, the way you do things, and you know, it's just a knock-on effect from there, you know. So I think it's a inevitable trickle feed into that sort of
It's
lifestyle.
also just hard, like you will never know unless you're in that situation. So obviously here we're saying all this sort of stuff, how we'd like to do this, or
Yeah,
we
I think
a certain way.
it's
We think
good
that
to
way
be-
now in our current headspace. Where
Yeah, but I think it's nice to be
Who
like
knows?
aware of, like, just be realistic about the fact that it probably will happen, and the more aware of it you are, hopefully the more you can slow it down, or
Yeah.
the more you can just be aware of all these sort of things. But
or
I
we'll
think
just stay
it's-
poor forever.
It's a solved it, but it's a weird conundrum then, because you could go into that thinking this could be the happiest time of my life, and yet I'm considering all these other perspectives, trying not to upset this person, that person.
Becomes
And then
stressful.
Yeah, and then eventually you'll springboard back the other way and be like, why am I worrying about all these people? And you become like passive aggressive and be like, fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm just going to make myself happy because that's all I can do.
Yeah, okay.
And there's never one right way to do it, you know what I mean? Which is why I can understand now when people win the lottery and they're just like unhappy, they end up blowing or being dead within the next 4 or 5 years.
Or having less money than they started off with before they won the lottery.
Yeah.
Because that also happens. We just build up debt because you actually don't realise
That you're
how to
in-
manage money, how to fucking look after your finances.
Just 20
and
million on black.
stuff. Yeah, financial investment.
Imagine if it comes off though. Remember we were playing GTA Online, like on black. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. You're like, no, don't do it. I'm like,
But half of it.
yeah, but if that's pretty much the two words that gambling is built on. What if?
Yeah, that's how they get you, man. Suck you in,
Oh yeah.
keep you there.
Oh yeah. All on black, yeah.
I'm more a red guy.
Oh, what the
Nah.
hell is? I don't know.
Nah, just don't gamble. Stay away from that shit.
Slot machines.
No,
Slot.
that's like the worst. Because it's all chance. There's not even. I mean, obviously, like you can play poker and there's a bit of skill involved, but it's like
Do you know, I always wondered in poker.
you have
So,
no
like, what if?
choice in the matter.
I feel like you've spoken about this before in the podcast, but what if you like double bluff? So like, you know, when you get a hand, you're like, fuck
Yeah,
yeah!
that's the thing.
I've never seen anyone do that.
You just said the word double bluff. That's a thing. Quadruple bluff.
Yeah, like, how many times does reverse psychology really work? When you're like, is he even? I don't even know anymore. Just I give up.
Do you have a stroke or?
It's like with football in a penalty shootout. The goalkeeper's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go that way, and the striker's like, he must be doing that because he wants me to go that way. But then, what if he knows that I'm thinking this?
Oh no.
What if he knows that I know that he knows?
What is life?
Yeah, that is the one annoying question that sent me into like some weird existential crisis.
Gambling and taking penalties. That sends you
Is this-
to an existential crisis.
Simple mind.
No, you like watching football, and as soon as penalties come, I'm like, no, I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't do it.
Just in the corner rocking myself to sleep.
What's he thinking? No, what's he thinking? Does he know what he knows? Oh god.
Did I show you this this post with this Instagram post with Lionel Messi and Budweiser when he scored his 400 or 600?
Yeah, they
or
like
something?
gave out bottles to the goalkeepers who he scored against, right?
Yeah, and then did I show you the other post about him?
No.
So basically, when Budweiser told him about this campaign, his first response was, "Can you not send alcohol-free ones to the goalkeepers that don't drink?"
Oh yeah.
So like particularly like any of the Islamic ones or whatever.
Sure.
And then he said also don't send anything to this goalkeeper. He remained unnamed because he was aware that he was a recovering alcoholic. I was like, what a sick guy.
Yeah.
Like, instead of being like, yeah, look at my success, he's sort of like, wait.
See, I would like to think that everyone should be like that.
I think
Because that's just actually like caring. That's just being like a good person.
I think just being self-aware that not everyone is
Yeah,
of
well-
your same mindset.
But again, it's also
'Cause
like
if you
going back to the Bitcoin thing. Sorry, just to quickly say,
Yeah, go on.
is like, fuck, what was I going to say? Just being aware of everyone's or like the different viewpoints that exist. It's like the more aware of that you are, and kind of if you have these sort of thought experiments where you go, okay, hang on, what would I feel like if this happens or if this happens? Then if you are in that position, you're then more prepared for it. Whereas if you're always just like this, then obviously you're always just going to stay like that.
Yeah, and I think it kind of works both ways though. So let's say, for example, right, you are self-aware and you're conscious of how your decisions affect the others around you.
Uh-huh.
Now, let's say from like you make an honest slip up, and this could be in whatever mistake. This could be like
Shit happens.
Yeah, so you're trying to be conscious of everyone's viewpoints, but then something you do or something you say, something might offend someone. Now that person that's been offended could either have a knee-jerk reaction and think, oh, this person's so stuck up because they're up here and I'm not there, or they could be like, maybe I should be aware of their viewpoint too. And there's only so much that they are able to be aware of, so it kind of works both ways. And this is a sort of invisible, unspoken understanding that people don't seem like, and compassion that people don't seem to have.
It works both ways as well. So like obviously.
Wait, I was saying it works both ways.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I'm just.
So the person who's trying to be considerate and makes a slip up, this person could either choose to get offended immediately and then suddenly judge that person's character and be like they're terrible, or they could be like, hang on a minute.
Let me look at it from their viewpoint.
I understand where they're coming from too, but I think people who see others that are more successful or in a more fortunate position than them, their automatic response is they're entitled or they are at fault because they've got something that I haven't, it was handed to them. And this kind of ties into what we spoke about in the last podcast as well, like with those paid drivers, for example, in Formula One, those who bring in more sponsorships or money from whatever means that is, they are viewed as, it's just been handed to them, or they're born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or whatever you want to call it. And it's not necessarily always the case until you've... What was that Atticus Finchley quote? Like, you have to walk a mile in a man's shoes or something before you... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like
you
that.
can know what they...
Yeah. So
I
think there's all these like idioms that come into my head, like, give an inch and I'll take a mile. But at the same time, give them some understanding.
But there's also no perfect human. Like, you can be as considerate as you can be, as humanly possible. You will fuck up at some point. Like,
and that's without that all.
No matter how small, how big, it's how that person reacts to it, or the other.
But this is where that mindset comes from, where it's like you can't please everyone all the time, so just make yourself happy. And I'm like, I kind of get that, and I'm like that most of the time, except for the people I really care about. Because I'm like if like you piss me off, I'd be like, he's got a track record of not doing that, so there must be some reason,
Sure.
So I get that mindset, but at the same time, sort of like, you're never going to make any new friends if you're like that. No. If you're always like, I'm going to please myself, because, you can't please everyone all the time. It's like, well, yeah, but try.
I think not, like when people say you shouldn't care what others think about you, it's true to an extent. You should definitely think that way, but you should bear in mind the people who are closest around you. You should obviously think, you should care what they think, because they're the ones who you spend the most time with. They're the ones who are going to be the most like you as well. You're going to have the same kind of sense of humour and all this sort of stuff, and shares of interest. So, and obviously they're going to know you the best as well. So if you do anything that's out of character, or you start doing something a bit weird, then hopefully they'll be the first to sort of tell you, and then you can be like, okay, maybe I should rethink this, or maybe I should kind of hear them out. And
people whose judgment you trust are very important. But then there's I think even having that, you need to be self-aware of the fact that some people around you just being yes men, which would occur more if you're more well off, like those fake friends you get.
That's why it's nice to just keep a small group of friends. If you have too many people, like, I can't keep up with people, bro. Like,
is this part of being almost grown up? Because I remember when I was in like high school, just being fairly good mates with everyone, and then I think I got to like maybe like college, and I was like, fuck.
I think it's also because you hang out with them every day. You see them every day, so you chat with them every day. But then obviously when you go and do other stuff, it's only those who you really like had a connection with, and like had good interests with, had shared interests with, you then stay in contact with them. Like us, for instance, right? We went to fucking the same secondary school, same sixth form. Yeah, I was a year above you. I went to uni first, and then you went to a completely different uni. So we didn't really see each other for that whole sort of 3-4 year gap. Like, really, like not that much. And then you sort of moved back into the area, and you moved into East London. We both moved in for a brief period of time. There's been lots of like kind of like chilling together, and then not, but we're still here, like as if we were in fucking year 11, just laughing our heads off, just being goofy,
And that's what you guys are watching. I think we had a pretty good discussion. Yeah. We've actually agreed to get a workout in now, in -1 degrees weather. So
fun.
There we go.
Wish me luck.
Wish me luck. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know what your thoughts are on that moral dilemma.
Yes, definitely.
Would you give that one Bitcoin? Would you give more? Would you give anything? Who's entitled to what? Let us know in the comments. Yeah, I think the brother did.
Hang on to it. Buy Bitcoin.
We're not endorsed.
Make sure to like, obviously, if you have liked it, dislike it. If you don't, tell us why. Yeah, subscribe, get involved in the comments, and we will see you next week. Peace.